Hello and welcome to week 8 in Psych Seminar. And last week we did the first of 3 chapters here. We did reading. This week we're going to be doing writing. Next week we're on spring break. And the week after that we're going to go into arithmetic and a little bit on statistics. So now we're going to be talking about writing. Now, writing within the context of this program really focuses on the goals that are associated with the American Psychological Association Style Guide. Now, the Style Guide does not only focus on how you format references and title pages and tables and all that stuff. What it focuses on is how to have a professional academic voice. That academic voice is something that you are currently building. It's something that you build throughout your career. Your unique capacity to translate technical and academic information in a written format that reflects both the standards that are expected within the profession, but then also your own unique writing style. This is a process that you're beginning. It can be a little rough. And oftentimes when people begin writing academic papers, they sort of overdo it a bit. They try to sound technical or they try to sound like what they're reading. And that's really not very fair on yourself. You really should write in your own language. Now, you're also learning a new language, so you're using the terms from the field instead of just describing things. But it's okay to have a relaxed, casual style in your writing as you are beginning to develop your academic voice. Now, the 3 components of the American Psychological Association style necessitate that we write so that we are clear, so that we are precise, and so that we are inclusive. So each one of the things that you write should be done mindful of you trying to be clear. This is where that confusion with trying to write intelligent can really come up to bite you. Because what I've seen is individuals who they can tailor a sentence. Actually, they can paraphrase a sentence from a source, yet it comes off not as clear, and oftentimes the author who wrote that sentence doesn't really have a clear understanding as to what they're writing about. So the first thing to do is, as you're writing, limit your writing to the things that you understand. As your understanding grows, your writing will change correspondingly. So write about the things you understand. If you don't understand something and you need to write about it, that means you are on a learning journey. You have to go online, you have to look things up, you have to read some articles, get that concept as best as you can, and then express that content in your own language. The next part is precision. We use specific words that are the words of the field of psychology. We use numbers. We use tables, we use charts, we speak very directly to information, data, methodology, and what, because this is a science. We don't speak necessarily in vague terms, particularly when we're looking at what we do with data. And it's very important to keep in mind that we are technically writing as opposed to creatively writing. So when you're writing for an academic purpose, the writing skill that you might possess that allows you to be a great storyteller is not the same skill that you're going to use in academic writing. It's a great skill, and part of that creativity on the use of words be really advantageous to become a good academic writer. But we're not looking for something flowery. We're not looking for something symbolic. We're not looking to build tension within our readership and then introducing, new characters and whatnot. That is great for creative writing, but it is not the goal within technical writing. And finally, we have inclusive. We're mindful of the uses of different words, different pronouns even, that we tend to go with neutral components in that unless we're specifically talking about variables. If we're talking about sex, let's say, as a variable, we use those specific. But we want to be inclusive of all individuals. This becomes, rather than a politically correct sort of initiative, it becomes simply, I want my writing to invite as many people as possible with as few barriers as possible for them to understand what I'm trying to convey. And so it's important to write clear, precise, and inclusive. Other aspects of writing include attributing, wrong way, attributing the information that you put into your paper to the original author. That is done in a couple of ways. One is through in-text citations, and this is probably the messiest part of APA style. When you're writing along and you paraphrase something, you paraphrase an idea, you paraphrase data or whatever from somebody else, and it's not from you, you have to write in the context of that sentence. You need to provide your reader with information related to the original author of that idea. So in-text citations, coming in a number of different forms, you might see them in the literature that say, according to Kavanaugh, and then in parentheses will be the year of publication, and they go on to say something. Or they might have a whole paragraph, and then at some point at the end of the paragraph, they have in parentheses Kavanaugh, comma, and then the year of publication. That in-text citation right there in the writing refers to your references page. From this point on, I should never see bibliography, reading list, works cited, none of that. That's all gone. That's all. Those are other styles. References. That's what it is. It's a page at the end of your paper, starts on a new page, references, and you list all of your sources by last name and you include the year. So the reader coming along to Kavanaugh, whatever, can then go to the references and see the citation for that source right there. Those two things, often people struggle with them. You're supposed to struggle with them. That's why you're paying for this class. It's not supposed to be easy. It's not supposed to happen on the first time around. No, it does. And it does necessitate that you take this out. And you got to get this. Now, there are online sources of all kinds out there that tell you how to write in APA style. This right here will last you the rest of your academic career. Even if they update it to version 8, it's still going to be the one that you're going to be using. This has all kinds of information about how to do title pages, in-text citations, and references. The three components that I'm going to be looking for in this particular assignment. Okay, I also include information for you. There's in order to help with the references part, there's a link in the course for a citation generator. You can put the DOI, you can put the website, you can put all of that stuff, and it'll generate for you a APA style reference. You still need to put it in the references page. You still need to make sure all the fonts are correct. You still have to make sure that that reference is double spaced, hanging indent, paragraph style. That means the first line is not indented and everything else is indented. It's the opposite of paragraph formatting where the first line is indented and that. Now this seems picky, and it is, but this is the expectation of the discipline. Now you think about the discipline of a field, okay? Then you have, we actually use the word discipline to describe psychology, the discipline of psychology, medicine, botany, whatever it is where those are called disciplines. But the other term, the other use of that word, discipline, which means to manage your behavior in a particular fashion, this is represented by APA writing style. And so it's important to continue to work on gaining more and more fluency in how to do title pages, in-text references, in-text citations, and references as a part of every paper that you're going to do. Outside of English and maybe history, the courses that you take here at KVCC and beyond, you are going to be asked to do APA style. So in nursing, biology, all the sciences, all of that, they adopt the APA version, probably within academia, the most popular style of writing. That's why this book will come in. This is the official one produced by the APA. This is the best source, particularly when you're starting to look at some sources, maybe some did the article that you're looking at and referencing, did it come from a professional website? That's different than if it comes from a non-professional website, or if that same article came from a journal website, or if that same article came from EBSCO, which is an aggregate database. EBSCO itself is not the source. EBSCO is a database that gives you the source for that article, and you have to cite that article as a article that came from a aggregate database. That's in here. Give you a hint about that one. You cite aggregate database articles the same way you would cite them if you read them in print. So no www anything. There's also, and I want to put it out there now because you're going to be doing some of this, particularly with this assignment for this week. When you do a search on the web and you click on the article that you're looking at, let's say you find the newspaper article I'm going to ask you, if you copy that address is going to contain all kinds of search criteria and database language from the Google process to find that article. It's going to be this really, really long address. People put those long addresses in the references. I don't understand why people do that. You have never seen that in print anywhere. What you need to do is find that article's actual URL. So once you're in that website, let's say that newspaper website, you have to go to the home page of that newspaper and search through them until you can find that link. And then that link is going to be just the URL. So don't do those long gobbledygook database things. That's a no-no. So, okay, we're looking at first. Our discussion and our assignment are tied together this week. The discussion is having you look at the topic that you have chosen for last week's assignment for Chapter 5. Look at that same topic. I want you to look up using the web, but you can also use EBSCO. You can limit a search within EBSCO to newspapers. I'm looking for newspapers. Find an article on the same topic. It doesn't have to be exactly the same, but it's similar topics to what you did for the Chapter 5 assignment on reading. I want you to discuss within the discussion board the difference between those. You're then going to take the difference between your original peer-reviewed article and the newspaper article. You're going to see different language, different populations. That whole idea of you not being, you're the target population for the newspaper, not in the journal. Your assignment is going to do that exact same thing. You're going to write a paper about about both articles, comparing those articles. Now it's just a writing assignment that follows the discussion where you're going to talk about what one is like and what another is like. That's all within the context of the instructions for this assignment in the course book. This is going to be possibly your first paper that is going to be critiqued specifically for APA style. So you have a title page and it contains all of the title page information. Then you have your paper. Your paper is divided into sections with bold titles. Those bold titles are on the left, not in the middle. You're on the left, and then indenting your paragraphs, double spaced everything, the same font throughout the whole thing, nothing copied and pasted, nothing like that. Writing your paper, and then you introduce another page in your document and you list references, that's in the middle, and then you list your references, your sources for your original article and for your newspaper article. There's two references in there. There should only be two references. You shouldn't have more than two. Now, the last thing I want to say about that is you may have been told, and I've heard people tell me this, you may have been told that using quotes is a good thing and it adds some validity to your writing. This is an absolute horrible, horrible lie. Do not ever quote information. Never. Except in circumstances where the phrasing of a particular way in which somebody says something is part of history. So if you're like doing the Bible or something like that, you put that in quotes. Or if you're quoting Shakespeare, you put that in quotes. If it's a completely unique way of saying something, or if you're quoting something, that's a statement that a person made and it was relevant in how they phrased it because of the colloquial language or whatever, put that in quotes. You never, ever quote something out of an article. And if you've been taught that, you've been taught wrong. You paraphrase, you put things into your own words. In fact, the process of paraphrasing something into your own words is part of the learning that topic. If I have to take somebody's idea and change the words and describe it myself, that activity actually helps me to understand that topic better. That's how you learn. No quotes. No quotes. This assignment is a special assignment because this assignment is going to be based upon mastery grading. And what I mean by that, and this is a challenge to you folks. This assignment needs to become pretty perfect. I want you to go through the process, if you need to, of multiple revisions of the same document. So what this will mean is you will submit that assignment. I will start grading them right away, and I will mark up the document telling you what you need to change to bring that document into compliance with the APA standards. You will then resubmit, and I will grade it, and resubmit and grade it. You will not receive a grade. It'll be a 0 every time until it is pretty darn close, and we've had enough of it, and then you get 100 on it. So this particular assignment, not the other ones, the other assignments, you get an 85 and you're satisfied with that. That is fine. This one, it's a 0. Even if I'm just asking you to make something bold instead of not bold, it's just this assignment. And it is picky. It can be a little frustrating. But I think it's a good learning experience. And once you've done this a few times and you learn how to use this book to find what you're looking at, I use this. I don't have all these rules memorized. I use this probably every other day. I have this book open looking at something, how to write it or whatever, and I still make mistakes. So it's not that you're leading toward perfection, it's that you're trying to demonstrate the process by which someone arrives at perfection. When articles go to get published, they're supposed to be perfect. And they have editors to help with all that stuff. So that's the adventure for today. So the discussion and then the related assignment after that. Now, last week I moved what was going to be the part 2 discussion B for the special assignment. I've moved that in the timeline so that it's this week now. And I had to make a change to that assignment. It's something that I recognized last year, but I didn't update the course book again. I'll be updating the course book. The original link to the Gapminder, that's what it is different now. So in the timeline, let me throw this up here. This is for OLA, I mean. But you'll see. guess I'm not seeing it right now, but I might have updated it only one. I think I updated it in OLA and I haven't updated it in OLB yet. Hold on. Hang on for a little bit here. OLA. There it is. So this is the course timeline in the course, and you'll see week 8, here's writing, here's the discussion, here's chapter 6 assignment, here's the link to the discussion. This is what I want you to look at right here. And there's a number of choices. If you click that, it's going to give you a number of choices of different quizzes to take. So we can get this loaded here. It's going to give you different quizzes on different aspects of what's happening in the world. What these quizzes originally do, they sort of challenge what do we know, what have we learned from, in terms of developing our worldview from the media, which is what we're usually carrying around, and it challenges that in a number of areas. So the page is loaded now. This is the worldview upgrader. Here's all these different quizzes. You can look at what are the UN goals? What about populations? What about refugees? You can look at different countries. Here's the original Gapminder test right there. Here's one for climate misconception. Here's about sustainability. Oh, something went wrong there. Picked up on my. So if I went to, let's say, population, yeah, I could take a question. I can take these questions here. This is there's a whole bunch of questions about population, 17 questions, and see how well I know about that. So there's a little bit more wiggle room in terms of which quiz you want to talk about, and then go into the discussion board. I think I actually like this better. People can pick all kinds. You can look at Europe, you can look at America, Mexico, or you can look at South America, Russia, all of these different parts of the world, and look at the how well do you know reality versus the message that has created the internal representation of the world. And usually people have found that their internal representation of the world was a bit off, sometimes a lot off, and things are very surprising. Hence, the whole purpose of this book, to kind of convince you that the numbers speak very loudly that the world is getting better and that we need to be mindful and protecting that progress, because there are many threats to that progress. Okay, that's it for that's a lot. It's a long video, I know that, but we have very important chapter. The writing part in terms of APA writing, discussion, assignment, and the exploration of your current worldview. So big stuff this class. Okay, next week, however, you get the week off. After this week, we have a week off. There are no assignments. Nothing carries over. Everything's due on Sunday. And then you're no expectations from this class until the following Monday. So a nice strong week here, and then off we go to have a break week. A much deserved break after doing the midterm grades. I'm by and large very pleased with how people are doing in all of my classes, and people working really hard, and I know you're challenged with other things in life and all that stuff, so I really appreciate the effort that's going on. So have a great week, and I will see you online. Take care.